Righty, so trying something a bit different this time. I don't usually make Destiny content, but I'm quite into the game right now. I have been for a bit, and I decided, you know what, it's time to make a tier list of my raids, the raids of the game, because I love raiding. Um, Actually, this is a little bit wrong. I don't want to even do most of this. We'll just use the first two. I don't usually do these tier listings, but they seem to be pretty hot, and it's an easy way for me to put the raids in the order. So we're just going to start from the order at the bottom here, although I feel like this isn't all the raids. This doesn't seem like all of the raids. So whatever, we'll start from the bottom one. Wrath of the Machine. Now this is a very good raid. We're starting off strong, aren't we? This is one of the best raids they've ever made. Um, so I'm going to put this into S tier. I'm going to try and limit myself to not put everything into the one tier, but Wrath the Machine is going into S tier. I'm also going to order them like in order. So on S, if there's three, I'll put the one I like the most at the far left, and the one I like the least, I guess, far right. So you get a better depiction of what I'm going at. So yeah, Wrath of the Machine, very good raid. I was still new to raiding back then. It was my second raid ever in any game ever. The first being King's Fall. Um, yeah, and it was really good. The only problem is my mic was rubbish, and we went in day one, and I guess we didn't really have like a whole mindset going. It was not very well done. Despite that, I still had fun. I think we made it to, I think we beat the siege engine on day one, and that was it. But I was young back then, and I got angry a bit often, so things have changed since then. And right now it's quite a hot topic. Either Wrath is coming back or King's Fall's coming back, and I wouldn't be sad about either. Um, if Wrath comes back, that'll be good too. Um, okay, so the next one, I think this is Eater of Worlds. I can't really tell. Eater of Worlds is a bit of a. How do I get rid of these? Because this is kind of annoying me. Yeah, delete rule. We'll go down to C tier, so because I don't think anything's really below that. Yeah, Z tier, Z tier. Eater Worlds is. I don't think I'm gonna be causing any issues if I put it down here. It's not that it's bad; it's that it's boring and kind of uninspired. And I really don't have much to say about it. I didn't play it on launch, so that's gonna. Some of these I didn't play on launch, so that's gonna kind of fuck around with how it is. But yeah, Eater, I did it a few times. It's really fucking easy, but it's not very inspired. Okay, here we go. Last Wish. I wonder where I'm going to put this one. I wasn't playing the game when this came out, and it's probably the biggest thing I regret because this raid is amazing. Very, very good raid. I've not actually most of the raid I've only done once, but that once was enough because it exudes atmosphere and it feels climactic, and that's important to me in a raid. And I understand why they don't do that for every raid, but to me, if it has story significance, that's going to be up there for me. And this one has very big story significance. It's a long raid, which is a plus for me. I love long raids. And mechanically, it's actually not that difficult. Probably even for the time. I think Vault was not difficult because it was hard. It was just not explained very well. Um, but this is mostly me being a historian at this point, like looking into the history. From when I played it, it never really was that difficult, but purely off of mechanics, still not really that difficult. But I heard that because of its length and everything, only one person beat it in 24 hours, so that speaks a lot for that raid. Very good raid, top tier music. I can't say much else about it, but that's it. Crota's End. I think most people know about Crota, and probably some people might put it in B, but to me, I think Crota is one of the worst raids as a raid. Specifically as a raid, it's a really bad raid in my opinion because it's way too short. And actually, to be honest, it's about on par as Eater. It might be slightly better than Eater in terms of being a raid, but actually, yeah, I think I might put it above Eater. Um, but it's not a very good raid. It's very short and there's not much going on, but it does have story significance, so it's got that going for it. Um, However, what I really love about it is how you could solo it, and that was so fun. As a solo experience, that fucking raid is amazing. But as a team experience, to me, wasn't very good. Again, I didn't do this one on launch, so maybe you guys are different. I didn't get to do the whole Black Hammer, Galahorn rubbish. No, I didn't get to do the Oversoul. But as a solo experience, it's a very good raid. Um, yeah, that's all I can really say about it. Leviathan, I don't think I can really have a good opinion on this one because I've only ever done it once, and it was during the time before Beyond Light when they were giving away that emblem for doing all the raids. But from what I did of it, I would put it as a low B tier. Um, Half the raid is good, and the other half is not. I didn't like the dogs, I didn't like the baths, but I loved the callus and I loved the gauntlet. It was a unique raid, and it's really hard to rate compared to everything else. But so I'm not going to really talk about it much. But it was a decent raid. Not really sure what to say about it though, because I didn't, like I said, I didn't like the dogs and the baths. I thought those were boring. The dogs was annoying. Baths was boring. Gauntlet was fun, and you got to run. I love running in this game. And Callus, I mean, come on, the head dimension. Do I need to say much more? The head dimension's awesome. Okay, alright. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but King's Fall is the best raid they've ever made. With a close second of Last Wish. I love King's Fall, and yes, I might be biased because it was the first raid I ever did. But you want a raid that has got story significance, you want a raid that's long, you want a raid that was complicated for the time, you want a raid with amazing atmosphere, you want a raid with decent jumping puzzles, you want a raid with great music. Oryx has got it all. The only thing it lacks is maybe the weapons weren't so good and the exotic was. I mean, it was amazing for Oryx, but it was pretty shit out there outside of that. Um, but yeah, it's got everything. Like to this day, you could check from my channel that I play Final Fantasy 14 all the time. I hardcore play that game, hardcore the raids. I've played all of them since creator. But to this day, I think King's Fall is still my favorite raid of all time, even including Final Fantasy 14, because Final Fantasy 14 doesn't have the atmosphere and the significance in the raids what Destiny does. That's one thing Final Fantasy 14 raids lack, although it makes up of it in how the mechanics play out. Um, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people would say it's just pure nostalgia. And maybe half of it is, but I still think it's one of the best raids they've ever made. The best raid they've ever made. Um, yeah, I don't really have much to say about it because I've just praised the shit out of it. All I can say is maybe I wish people did Golgoroth the other way because I've never done it the other way and I wanted to try it. Oh yeah, speaking of Riven cheese, people need to stop doing that, or they need to remake that raid and take that out because I've never done it without the Riven cheese, and that is the biggest regret why I wish I could have played that raid when it came out because it looks so good. It might even beat King's Fall if I could do that Riven. If I could do the Riven. Scourge of the Past. This one's another one that people might not agree with me with. I think it's an A tier because um, I used to think it was a little bit higher, but I think it's fine in this. The reason why is it's the first raid that did a Sparrow section, and ironically, the Sparrow section is the worst part of the raid, but I really loved the idea of it. When people kept telling me that there was a raid with a Sparrow part in it, I was like, oh yes, I can't wait to do it. And yeah, it was good. This is probably one of my most played raids that I've done. King's Fall is easily my most played. It's like 200 clears. Yeah. But yeah, Scourge is pretty decent. The only problem is I've never got to do much in the mechanics at the end. I wanted to drive the tank and I wanted to do the running around, but I never got the chance to. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Anarchy, one of the best raid exotic they've ever made in my opinion. And it's only just now been nerfed in Season of Lost, so not that long ago. Yeah, it's a good raid, decent music. A lot of people don't like it because it's a bit boring, but I do. I like it. I think it's fun, and the DPS part is pretty unique actually. I think the DPS is pretty cool. Uh Spire of Stars, Valkyr. I've only done this a couple of times, and I don't think I could give a fair opinion on this because we won phase the boss when I did it, and that's not how it should have been. That being said, I'm sorry, guys. I think it's a fucking great raid for a raid layer compared to these two things. Like, come on, man. Like the going into space and flinging the balls at the spaceships and shit like that. Then you have to like pass the balls around and fling it at him, and balls everywhere, balls, balls, balls. It was a it was a pretty fun raid in my opinion, and the music is pretty cool as well. Although I've only really heard it on YouTube. Um, yeah. I think it's a fun raid. Again, I wish I could have done it when it came out, and maybe it'll get unvaulted and I get to finally do it. Although the rest of my raid team hates Spire Stars, and I'm the only one who likes it, so oops. Vault of Glass. Okay, I'm going to assume this is the original Vault of Glass, but I will tell you my opinion of both Vault of Glasses. So the first Vault of Glass. Oh shit! Here we go. Uh, um, I'm sorry. I think it's pretty shit. Me, I think it's pretty bad. Maybe because I started with King's Fall, but it's just ads. It's just shooting ads. That's all it is. And in the original Vault Gas, there's barely any ads to shoot. And the oracles, like Confluxes, just takes way too long. The oracles is okay. Templar is okay. Gorgons is pretty cool actually. That bit's pretty cool. It's annoying, but it's pretty cool, especially for the time when they made the raid. Um, Gatekeepers is awful. It's not even an encounter. And Atheon, it's okay. But that's all I can say about Photo Glasses. It's okay. I mean, it's better than the other two that are here, like by a bit, but I don't really like it that much, to be honest with you. Um, it does have a bit of atmosphere, but its music is okay. Well, it needs to not play the music halfway through the fight. It needs to start with the music. Yeah, I guess you can get hyped when it starts playing, but you never get to hear it, so might as well not even fucking be there. Yeah, not the greatest raid in my opinion. Now, as for New Vault of Glass, so this is going on video, New Vault of Glass gets up to tier because I think it's better in every way. Conflux is maybe the same speed, but it feels a lot faster because there's way more ads. Oracles, how you have to shoot them on order, way funner than just going around shooting them. Templar, okay, day one it was fun, but every time after that it's shit because it dies in like 2 seconds. Gatekeepers, they actually turned that into an actual encounter, so that's good as well. Um, Atheon is the one that people seem to not like, but I still think it's better because you have to do that whole communicating with the oracles shit. That is pretty fun. And while I'm here, Master Vault of Glass would be above Leviathan. So normal D2 Vogue is there, Master Vogue is above Leviathan. And the reason why I say that is it's just harder and you actually have to like plan and do stuff for, even though it was basically the same thing. But since this is normal Vault Glass, let's go in there, I'm afraid. Garden of Salvation. I think Garden is not a very good raid. I'm sorry. And again, this is one of the few raids I did day one. I didn't complete it day one, but I did most of it day one. And I did it when it was relevant. I don't think it's very good. Um, the first encounter's okay. The second part, it's alright, and it's funny because the music goes and everyone laughs at that for some reason because it's just like all quiet, and then the guitarist just comes in and does that for some reason. But the tether mechanic and the moats are notoriously buggy in this game, and they just need to fuck off because they fall through the floor and they don't pick up. Just get rid of them. They're awful mechanic. And the tether was just weird as well. It was janky. It took you into third person and shit. I think I remember it taking you into third person. Maybe I'm wrong with that one. I just think it's bad, and I barely even remember the last encounter. I just remember it being annoying. I don't have much to say about it. I having taken a break from Wrath and coming back to that, not a very good look. Although maybe because I had a lot of Final Fantasy 14 experience in between those, it still, in my opinion, wasn't very great. It has a good atmosphere, but that's like every raid. Crown of Sorrow. I think I'll put it in upper B. And the reason why I'm putting Crown of Sorrow in upper B is, and I kind of want to put it in A, but I don't want to leave Callus alone, so I'll put it in upper B. Um, it's a good raid. Um, I don't really remember much. The first part, it takes way too long, so that bit is not good. But it has a pretty interesting jumping puzzle. I don't really remember the second to last encounter with the clones. I think it was, or the, I don't really remember. I've done it a couple of times as well. It's a bit forgettable, I guess. But the last encounter, I actually thought it was pretty difficult in my opinion. There's a lot to like look out for, and you're paired with people, so you got to make sure your like pair is good. It's not like triple teams or anything. It's like pairs, so it's a lot different than a lot of raids in this game. I think a lot to look out for, a lot of information to remember, and it's a very fast-paced raid. But I think that is a good thing for it. Um, but it definitely took a while for some of our people to get it. I mean, I got it quite decently, but I remember some people who've already cleared it before struggling with it. I don't know why, but I thought it was a pretty decent raid. And I got the Taraba on the second kill, which was cool. Oh yeah, by the way, on the Anarchy, I got the Anarchy from Scourge of the Past on the first kill, so don't tell anyone. Best raid exotic. Yeah, Crown Sorrow Upper B. Deep Stone Crypt, the newest new raid they've made. Now, this raid is about the same length as something like Wrath or Vault of Glass or Garden. Um, but it's really easy. It's a really easy raid. By the way, it's in A tier. I think it's above all of these. I think it's above all of these. Um, yeah, it's a very easy raid, and usually you might think, oh well, if it's easy, why is it so high? Well, in this case, I think the funness of it, I think the mechanics are fun. They're really unique mechanics. It's all about like different visual things that you see, and uh, what buff you got you determines what you have to do. Um, and there's a lot of moving, and 8 tracks especially is like that's a very unique encounter. Not very many bosses you have to do like a bunch of damage in like 2 seconds, so that's pretty fun. The music is awesome. I think the music's great in that raid. Something about these 4 raids. The music is amazing in all 4 of these. Music's decent in the rest of these. Good sometimes, decent others, but in these, I think it's top tier. These all 4 have the best music, and maybe I'm rating this on music. I don't know. Well, if I was rating on music, I'd probably put Vault Glass at last, but still. Anyway, yeah, it's got very good music, and the set piece, like you're going into like a bunker, and then you destroy like a core, and then you fight like a then you go into like these pods that put you into space, and then you're in a fucking space station all of a sudden, like what the fuck? And then you have to fight this boss, and then the space station starts crashing into the Earth, and you get to see, well, it's Europa, and you get to see like the fire on the windshield and shit. It's like, what the fuck? It's very great for that. I don't know the word to describe it, but I love that for it. Um, yeah, and the last boss, unfortunately, the last boss lets it down a bit, and I hate that they reuse Tanix because that's just the cheap way of getting about this. They should have used someone that was in the story or someone new, not just Tanix just thrown in there. That was rubbish. Um, I think the final boss was pretty shit because you got to kill it really fast. I mean, it wasn't bad, awful bad, but it wasn't really fun either. Um, and also, this is when they started doing music where, like in the final boss, you don't even get to hear all the music because you kill it too fast. It just plays the drums for most of it, which is a bit rubbish. You don't get anything like Crota's music where you get the sword, you know. Although the DPS phase music's pretty good. Yeah, and Eyes of Tomorrow, the raid exotic, eh. I mean, it's good for Gambit, but pretty shit out of there. Although one of my friends who we carry for raids, he got it in the first clear, and he was just like, "What's an Eyes of Tomorrow?" And we're like, "Oh my god," because none of us had got it yet. That was pretty fun. Yeah, that's about it for this. Hopefully this didn't drag on too long, but I think that this tier list is pretty accurate to how I have. Let's hope the Witch Queen raid is better. If anybody watches this, I'd appreciate it if you let me know your opinions down below. And thank you for watching. Bye bye.